All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. We surprisingly had a lot of action in the market today, but now the next question this week is this the blow off top, or are we actually going to break out? So I started yesterday's video with the chart. We're going to do it again here today. We were talking about why 4,300 was such an important level going back all the way to 2021, but what I want you to see right here is what happens like right below one of the key levels. And this is where I'm saying this week, what we are looking for is conviction to the upside or not. So don't forget, we are still looking for the refunding announcements, but now we also want to see, are people really feeling this bull market? Yes, today S&P is up 20% from the October lows. S&P is now in a bull market too. Remember, NASDAQ did that early on in the year, but the whole point right now is anytime we've gotten up to some of these solid points, I think it was here in February, like right below 4,200, you sold off until ultimately we're breaking out now. Even in December, like right at 4,100, this was the second time doing that. You literally rode the market all the way to the level. It got right to the point and then sold off. This was the breakdown of Jackson Hole, but this is where I'm saying blow off top and we kind of sell off a little bit or break out, because last time you had the most hated rally when you took off, oh my gosh, at any of the solid levels, you started moving 50, 100 points at a time, kind of like we're doing now. So it's a very important week. We have a very minimal amount of data. So if we are going to see conviction this week, it's probably going to happen. So Chad, we have a lot to talk about. There was a bunch of other stuff today. Maybe I should go to the chart to show you here. We started off the morning. There was like a baby gap up. There was good data out of Europe with the PPI. Then our ISM data, it wasn't too good. We're going to talk about that. There was even the Apple event as well too, but there was a bunch of different events. We had the data in the morning, and surprisingly, we got a decent amount of movement. But one thing I was saying, even though we ended up closing slightly red today, we're still at 42.73, and I think as long as, even if we go down to like 42.20, 42.40, that's still a decent amount of upside. So it was wild. We have a lot to talk about. I got the plays for you. I got the keys and what to be watching for, and then what we're looking for the rest of the week. So Chad, drop your thumbs up on that video. Make sure you are subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/the stock market. I don't know if I've given that you in a while. That's beautiful, but let's get right into it. We got the keys for you, but today, you saw what we were talking about yesterday, because even though there were all these movements, like I just told you earlier, as long as we don't go below one of those levels, I don't really think that much has changed, and I think this is some of the what's next trade and following the debt ceiling. But we did get economic data today. The markets did start moving around when that data came out, and it was the ISM data and it was the PMI data. But if you notice, the bonds, this was right when the data came out, they made their move and they stuck with it, but then the SPY was kind of all over the place. There was no real correlation, even when you kind of look at the numbers and considering the divergence that we've seen between bonds, the SPY, and the NASDAQ as of late. So it was very unique, or what we were kind of looking for. The fact was the data came in, the data was weak on the service side, pricing, all of that. That meant that, okay, maybe the rates can't go that much higher. So that's why you saw IEF, TLT go up, yields went lower. But like we're saying, the stock market had zero effect with all of that. So I think this was very big. I think this is what we may start seeing over the next coming months until the market starts to kind of catch up with the correlation a little bit. But like I'm telling you from the beginning of the video here, that little get to the solid level and break out or break down, I'm looking for conviction. We got to 42.99, but didn't have enough to go above that. So what I'm looking for this week is there's not much data like we have here. You're going to get a couple of headlines with the big things we're looking for with the Treasury and the refunding, but are we going to see conviction in this level or not? I think that is going to be very important. So watch out for that. And like I'm saying here for the next key, there's not much data tomorrow. You're going to get like consumer credit, I think mortgage applications, and then like the trade balance. Trade balance could be decent, but I mean, you even see the bonds right now in the stocks. I really think that the bonds will move to data, but the stocks can do whatever they want. But we don't have any real big drivers until next week. Watch for the Treasury refunding. They did the 3-month and 6-month auction. They gradually increased the amounts that they're offering. And then right when the bad data came out, you saw the demand there. So like I've been telling you the last couple of days, we want to get some real movement. Bond volatility has been dropping, but don't get it twisted. This little down and up. These are like 1% days, 0.5% days top to bottom, but the yields are relatively at the same price they were at on May 19th, almost 3 weeks ago at this point. So watch out for that. We should be hearing from the Treasury though this week. So keep your eyes out for that. That's key number 2. And then finally, like I'm saying here, a very quiet data week. It is right before Powell, and I think we are just going to trade this week. It's either going to be computers. I'd watch for any like company headlines that could maybe move some things. But when it's all said and done, like what happens with the rate hike? Lending Tips asked me that question today, and it was a very long answer, but it's very simple. Whatever the CPI is, I think that's going to be what they do with the rates or not. If CPI comes in hot, I think they're going to raise. If not, they are not going to raise, and then they're going to try to hammer home the skip message, and then we play the data game again. But that's where it all boils down to. That's why I'm like, hey, if people feel conviction, if there's any other individual news, mania out of anything, maybe we get the markets going up. But this is the week we're going to do something, and it's like, okay, leading into Powell, CPI will determine all of that. So are we going to be above 430 before that, or are we going to be below that? Do we sell off right at the level, or do people really feel good about it? Do they start assuming what's going to happen, and then we get optimism ahead? But like I'm saying, the real final move 1 week from now, or I guess that's next Wednesday, that's going to be all determined by the CPI. And then I think you are going to either start hearing a lot of the same story, or a little bit remixed depending on what the data says, or you may see narratives start to flip-flop depending on what the data says. I sound like Powell, but that is everything, Chad. We'll see how it plays out. It should be relatively calm, but at the same time, we have been getting a lot of excitement, and now we're even starting a new month and quarter, so I hope you're ready, but let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I got 3 different stocks I'm looking at. The first one today, it's related to the big news, and that was Apple. The headset, I was pleasantly surprised with it. Some people didn't like it. If you were listening on stream, it was pretty cool that Apple came out with this Vision Pro thing, but why I have Meta down here is because I took a cheap Meta put. I grabbed like a $250 for next week for like $70, but why I got it is because the Apple headset, in my opinion, blew Meta out of the water, and I wanted to see if other investors had that same reaction. A small $70 play. Again, Meta has been running, hitting 52-week highs left and right, so thought it would be good, worth the risk to reward. I've been kind of dabbling with some of these option plays over the last couple weeks, again, below $70, below 100, so thought that would be a good downside play. But Apple getting into headsets could be bad for Meta, but at the same time now, it could also be good for them because it kind of validates their idea. So I think the trading around this is going to be pretty big. Going to be watching that. Again, I grabbed the $250 put for next week, $70, and then we'll see what happens. But that is play number 1. Then play number 2, I might make you a video on this, and I really want to see what's happening. But we talked about the OPEC news yesterday, and low-key, there is a battle brewing in oil right now. So I'm going to be watching XOM. I have my Oxy shares. I'd watch out for energy. They gapped up today, energy stocks and oil, and then they came right back down, and this is what I think is part of the battle. So keep your eye out for all these names, even HUSA. If you remember, I still have those old ones from the first OPEC headlines. They popped up right with it. I'm still down on them, but they were ready to start moving with it. And just keep your eyes on oil, because there is a slow battle forming with this OPEC thing and what Saudi is doing. They sent a message by being the only ones to unilaterally cut it. I think they're watching price, and that's why I'm saying with the price fluctuating and not holding, if it doesn't hold on, I'd see what they start doing, but keep your eyes out for the next steps. However, I have it written here, don't get your hopes up too much because this oil battle may develop slow, but this was big the other day, and the fact that price isn't moving, I think that is what is going to make this a lot more fascinating or create other plays or just lead us to the next news event. So watch out for that. That is play number 2. And then finally, this one is very interesting. I like it. GitLab, GTLB. We've played this in the past. We've even seen headlines, and you have seen this stock move a ton, and that's why I like it. They had a slight earnings beat. I don't think it was that good of earnings. They are still having a loss per share. It's one of these tech companies. Their revenue, again, EPS is negative. Revenue is like $100 million. Their guidance was slightly higher on revenue and EPS. It was slightly better, but it's not like it's like, oh my gosh, this is it. They're going profitable. So it was a slight earnings beat. But this is just a big mover. I think it's either going to have a huge fade tomorrow or this could squeeze and go a little nuts. It reminds me of Okta. That one after earnings, a lot of back and forth, 20%, then down 10%. You had moves like that. Even Upstart too, or Upstart, not Okta. Okta, they dropped 20%, then it was 10%, then they calmed down, did the same thing. But these are some of those bigger movers. I really like that. Going to be keeping my eyes out for it, but I really do think it was a questionable earnings, but the reaction is pretty big. So we'll find out what happens with that, but those are the main plays. As far as anything else, all I did was a play on 3M today. I did make a play on the bonds, putting the bond test to the theory. We had the data, and I said, okay, I'm going to play the bonds as if I would play the stocks. Pretty much if it's bad news, good news, I just took it to the bonds. We tried a small 10Y play. That ended up working out. And then I made a flip on 3M. I got murdered. I thought they were going to have a continuation, so I bought in like 200 shares at like 101. They came down. There was a couple of updates. The judge is giving them a delay on the trial, but I think this one's going to be compelling to watch, and now I'm in it on trade shares. We'll see what happens with the long term. We put our deposit in Bill today, but going to see, I think, after Powell or around Powell, we'll be able to get a better idea of, okay, are we going to use some money? And if I do, 3M's a good candidate. Otherwise, maybe we wait and then ride things out a little bit. But other than that, going to be watching a lot of the data, watching the bonds, seeing if there is any real conviction, and then getting ready for Powell because all of the action is about to arrive, Chad. So I hope you're ready. Bye. That is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure Hydrate Healthy ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember, baby, the valley of death. Before you walk through the valley of the death, I just want you to know where that comes from. You're going to make it through. You're going to make it through the fire. But all I'm trying to tell you is oftentimes before the greatest moments, some things happen before. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Welcome to the cycles of life. Embrace it, baby. You're made for it because that's why you're here. Amor Fati, that's how it turned out. Even to the point you're watching this video right now. So don't let me... Stop it. That's what I do. You ever hear that? That's me going... I hit it. I go... You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm... All right, we'll drink that water. Stay... Okay, hold on. I'm really awkward now. Okay, Horn, I love you.